At the start of winter break, I received an email saying that the TEDx Club was open for speech auditions. And like all responsible students, I took out my calendar and said, maybe next week. Now, mind you, I really wanted to do this thing. I really wanted to come here up on stage and share my ideas with the whole school community. But in my head, I was giving myself time to think on this and to let the thought marinate for a while. And the time that I finally started working on the application just so happened to be when I still have enough time to complete it before the deadline. You see, neither this thought marination nor the time when I finally started working on it were random. They're all part of a phenomenon that high school students face on a daily. Procrastination. Now, in order to visualize procrastination better, I want you to imagine a train of which you are the conductor of. And now your job is to drive this train on an endless road by occasionally stopping to pick people up and then continue on. But this train conductor makes unnecessary halts between stations and delays the arrival of the train and therefore the passengers in the train to their destined stops. Now the train is going to have to continue somehow, but the conductor keeps postponing this train. And the only outcome of this is that wherever the train has to arrive, it arrives later than expected. When you look at it through this lens, procrastination does feel unnecessary, right? But during that moment, it doesn't feel unnecessary. In fact, between the lines, there's something very comforting about it that prompts us to repeat this behavior. A February 2026 research from the Journal of Behavioral and Cognitive Therapy established that among the main reasons for academic procrastination include fear of failure, perfectionism, and difficulties in emotional regulation, which are all unfortunately very common among high school students. Now, the easy way for us to deal with these is by ignoring them for the time being, which, by no surprise, gives birth to procrastination. But this exact postponement is what gives us comfort. It acts as a shield from pressure, stress, and self-doubt. The National Geographic even suggests that procrastination may be a self-protective mechanism. It is stated that this is activated in the amygdala of the brain, which is a part of the brain that regulates emotions and memories. So, from an evolutionary perspective, this response is designed to protect us from external threats. In a way, basically like a fight or flight response, this triggers us against threats that were life or death for early humans. And what the brain is doing in that sense is creating a small harm right now to prevent a possible bigger harm in the future. In our modern day lives, this appears as delaying our task right now to avoid the underlying fears of failure and judgments which may arise later on. Now, at this point in my research tour, I'd read quite a few articles stating that procrastination was becoming more and more prominent among high school students. I decided to test it out. In a survey that I conducted among ACI students, I found out that procrastination is a common problem in ACI UL. So, as also seen on this graph, 25% of the survey respondents stated that they always delay starting their tasks. Another 25% said they often delay it, while 38.2% said they sometimes delay their tasks. A 10.5% said they rarely delay it, but a mere 1% said they never delay their tasks. And to all students who answered my survey, you are not an anomaly. These numbers are all very normal among high school students, especially for various reasons, such as taking a lot of responsibilities and getting overwhelmed. In fact, these numbers are quite similar in other categories as well, such as creating a to-do list and adhering to deadlines. And while being normal, these numbers possess an amount of risk because in the long run, they can and they will affect academic performance. Frankly, 84% of all respondents stated that they had not yet found effective ways to combat academic procrastination. So I thought I could share with the whole school community what works for me. One trick that helps a lot is visualization. So say that you have a project that you're hesitant to start. What you should do is imagine yourself already done with the task. Imagine that you submitted it and that you're free from the pressure. Imagine everything else you're going to do once that project doesn't constantly keep a space in your mind. Must be next. So now you're prompted to start working on it because you have rationalized the possible outcomes that could come out of it. This can be anything really, such as studying for an exam, sending an email, writing a TEDx speech. In fact, this technique is often used by athletes before competitions to shake off anxiety. So it's a great trick that I would recommend to all students who have not discovered it yet. Now, another way that you might avoid spiraling into procrastination is called time blocking. And in fact, a few of the students at ACI wrote this down in the survey, saying that it helped them overcome delaying their tasks. So it's a peer review technique. This technique requires for one to fill in all of their time gaps with their responsibilities. But it includes rest times as well, so don't worry. And seeing our work laid out like this helps us anticipate when we might be done with all of it, which creates a similar effect to visualization in the sense that you have now condensed a seemingly tough task into a dealable amount. And that is actually the trick behind all things procrastination. Remember that there are many other ways which may work for you, and what works for a friend might not work for another. The important thing is to not treat procrastination as laziness, but simply poor emotional regulation. The moment we stop blaming ourselves and start redirecting is the moment we'll overcome procrastinating. And truly the hardest part of anything in life is to start it. And once we take that first step, the rest of our task, the rest is a lot easier. Thank you.
Whoa.